Greetings and welcome to the International College of Behavioral Counseling that presents life's defining axioms. Each axiom contains essential wisdom for living. And this one simply states this: most things are neither right nor wrong. Most things are neither right nor wrong. They're just different. Jesus said, "Behold, I make all things new." And whatever God creates, he doesn't create the same thing twice because it's always new. So we can replace the word new with different. Behold, I make all things different. God challenged Job in chapter 38, verses 22, when he says, "Have you entered into the treasures of the snow? Or have you entered into the treasures of hail?" Now, what kind of treasures are there in the snow? I grew up in a northern country where snowbanks were frequent. They were bigger than hills. They were like mountains. It usually snowed in late October or early November, and it stayed on the ground until the following March or April. It never melted. Snow, snow, snow. Wherever you looked, there was snow. All the doors to homes are opened inwardly rather than outwardly because if a snowstorm came along during the day, you might be locked in your house until spring. That would really give you cabin fever, wouldn't it? Snow. Yet the scripture says, "Have you entered into the treasures of the snow?" Well, snow banks are made out of snowflakes. Numerous, countless snowflakes, each one having 6 arms, and every snowflake different and unique in nature. Behold, I make all things new. And so every snowflake, every blade of grass, every leaf, every petal on every flower is different. And so it is with you as an individual. We are unique. When God created us, he made us special. A special edition of one, and then he threw away the mold. There's no one like you in tastes or ideals or goals or desires or needs. You're unique. We're unique, every one of us. If you weren't different, you'd be unnecessary, which simply means that I need your uniqueness. And if you fail to function in the capacity that God has given you, then I am forever disadvantaged because I don't have the blessing and the honor and the help of your uniqueness. We're unique. Recognize that. The conflict, however, arises because of our differences. And so a husband and wife go out for supper. And the husband says, "We're going to a Chinese restaurant. I just love their egg drop soup or sweet and sour soup." And the wife, being Italian, she says, "I want to go to an Italian restaurant. The minestrone." She wants minestrone. And so a conflict occurs. Now, who was right? The husband who wants to eat Chinese food or the woman who wants to eat Italian food? Well, they're both right and they're both wrong. There's no right and wrong. It's just they're different. They're not wrong to want Chinese food or Italian food. They're different. Everything has a specific purpose. Now, if you can identify the tool right here, you know that it's made for pulling nails and pounding nails and dislodging things that have been caught. And here's another instrument. It's called a thread and a spool, and it's made for sewing torn garments. A spoon and a fork and a knife. Oh, I like this one because I can gorge myself into oblivion on mass volumes of perishables. Perhaps if we begin to eat with instead of a spoon, we begin to eat with a needle, maybe we cure our obesity problem, okay? But you wouldn't want to pound a nail with a spoon. Neither would you want to eat your meal with a needle. Everything is made for a specific purpose. And this is the import of Romans chapter 12, verses 6 through 9. And I'm going to just paraphrase this portion, okay? And God says, each one of us have differing gifts according to the grace that God has given to us. And if your gift is prophesying, if you've been given the gift of prophesying, then prophesy. If you've been given the gift of serving, then serve it with cheerfulness. If you've been given the gift of teaching, then teach. Do your research. Teach the truth, not what you think is the truth. Teach what God says. If your gift is encouraging, then encourage one another. If it's sharing and God has given you the ability of abundance to share, then share it generously. If it is leading, then lead. If it is helping, then help. You see, each one of us have a particular gifting that God has given to us, and He expects us to function in that gifting that He's given to us. Well, David knew this perfectly well when he said in Proverbs chapter 139, verses 13 through 17. And I'm paraphrasing once again. For you have formed me in the inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, O Lord. He said, you knew every one of my appendages, every one of my principles before they were even formed in my mother's womb. He says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. You formed me curiously in my mother's, in the depths of the earth, in my mother's womb. And this word curiously formed or curiously weaved or curiously wrought really means a fine piece of tapestry. You are an embroidered work. God has embroidered you, formed you, created you into a beautiful tapestry, just like He wanted you to be. And then what He's done is He's written it in the book, so that He knows where it's at. Every one of your cells, your DNA, if it could be stretched, if one of your DNA could be unraveled and stretched, it would reach the moon and back. In my case, it might be reached all the way to the moon and back a couple times, depending on the size. But our DNA is just like that. So my encouragement for you is to be you. Just be you. Don't try to be someone else, because everybody else is taken. That's my wisdom for today. Now, I'm Wilf Kent. Visit our website, icbc.org. No, icbconline.org. Okay? Keep well until next week, and farewell.